In the wild, the African lion is much larger than the jaguar, and pound for pound in a fight would almost always win. The bite of the jaguar is the most powerful of the big cats, however, and this sometimes can result in the jaguar overpowering the lion. This Sunday, these pussycats battle mano a mano as the 1-3 Detroit Lions visit the 1-4 Jacksonville Jaguars. With the asses of Matt Patricia and Doug Marrone squarely on the ouchie woa hot seat, the loser could send its coach straight to the unemployment line. Can the Lions attempt to salvage their season and dispatch the monstrous prey that is the Jacksonville Jaguars? Or will their wins continue to be extinct? It's a fight to the death between two of the three largest cats in the world, and it's next on Detroit Sports Extreme.
Recorded from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, Florida, this is Detroit Sports Extreme. Here now is your new voice for Detroit Sports, Johnny Bakerstone.
Happy weekend greetings, Detroit sports fans, and welcome to Detroit Sports Extreme. We are coming at you from outside of Gate A at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, Florida, where the sun is shining, the beers are flowing, and later this weekend, two desperate pussycats will be trying to claw their way out of an early season one-win hellhole. But oh, did I mention I just opened a checking account at TIAA Bank? What wonderful banking people! As I celebrate my new checking account by cracking open my fourth land shark on this snug Jacksonville morning, I must urge you, the people of Detroit, the following Motor City message. For your Detroit Lions, the time is now. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, the time is now, dammit. No more screwing around. No more stalled trips in the red zone. No more blown defensive assignments. And no more dropped game-winning touchdowns in the godforsaken end zone. If the season is to be turned around, it must start this Sunday in Jacksonville, which I'll have you know is the most populous city in the state of Florida. It's time, Detroit. It's time to hold hands and our beers and cling to what could be the final week of hope this season, barring victory. That's because if the Lions don't stop playing sarcastic-ball and get their heads out of their keisters against the 1-4 Jaguars, the season will be over. And it'll be time to strap a rocket up the asses of Boob Quinn and Matt Patricia and launch the two incompetent bozos straight to Jupiter. Detroit, the time is now.
Week 6 Preview.
The Lions enter this weekend's contest well-rested, fresh off a Week 5 bye. Following this weekend's catfight with the 1-4 Jags is a duel with the 0-4 Atlanta Falcons, a team that just executed a head coaching can job following the dismissal of Dan Quinn earlier this week. If the Lions can't win these next two games and hit the 500 mark as they enter the month of November, even I would be shocked if Boob Quinn and Matt Patricia still had their jobs. In November, it's dates with the 1-4 Vikings and 1-4 Washington football team in two of the first 3 weeks. On paper, the Lions have a genuine opportunity to turn the season around as the combined record of their next 5 opponents is a juicy 6-18, but it needs to start this Sunday in the Sunshine State. Amazingly, the Jags are the only team in the NFL that Matthew Stafford hasn't thrown a touchdown against. A trend that is sure to end this Sunday against one of the NFL's worst defenses. More on that in a moment. Born in Tampa, Florida, Stafford has the most passing yards and touchdowns among Tampa-born quarterbacks. He is 4-0 all-time in games played in the state of Florida and is 7-1 overall against NFL teams based in Florida. Take that, Jacksonville! If you're looking for a little more ammo when taking the Lions giving 3, there it is. I'll tell you my pick against the spread later in the show. Stafford has had a week to mend following the Lions' 35-29 loss to the New Orleans Saints, in which he threw for just 204 yards, completing only 54.8% of his passes at a measly 6.6 yards per attempt. Yuck! Stafford also threw a costly red zone interception in the second quarter that would have given the Lions the lead. This was against a Saints team without two of their top corners in Janoris Jenkins and Marshawn Lattimore, and stud defensive end Marcus Davenport. It was a truly disgusting showing, to say the least, as the Lions blew a 14-0 lead and surrendered 35 unanswered points. Consistency has been an issue for Stafford all season long, as he has the 5th worst completion percentage in the NFL at 60.6% and hasn't had a 300-yard passing game yet this season. He has thrown an interception in 3 of the Lions' first 4 games, and his downfield throws have been almost non-existent. But not to worry, because Lions offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell is telling us his poor play can be attributed to his, quote, footwork and bad habits. Folks, Stafford is in year 12, and we have to hear about improper footwork and bad habits. I mean, my God, give me a break. We're watching Chargers rookie quarterback Justin Herbert light the world on fire, and we have to hear about Stafford and his bad footwork. Enough of the excuses. I want to see results. You're in year 12, you're making $27 million a year, and you don't have, quote, good footwork. I laughed out loud when I read it. Stafford better torch the Jaguars' laughing stock of a defense this Sunday, or I wouldn't let him board the team plane home. As expected, the Lions' rushing attack was put on hold against the Saints' tough running defense in Week 4 as Adrian Peterson rushed 11 times for just 36 yards. At 35 years old, he is still the lead dog for now, but DeAndre Swift finally showed some signs of life against the Saints, combining for 52 total yards on only 8 touches and a receiving touchdown. Despite the rocky start to his season, I'm still holding out hope for Swift, and hopefully he'll start to get more carries this week against the Jaguar defense that allows the 7th most rushing yards per game to opposing running backs. Outside of Kenny Golladay and TJ Hawkinson, the Lions' pass catching has been an issue so far to begin the season. Golladay returned from injury in Week 3 and has caught a touchdown pass in each of his last 2 games, and Hawkinson has hauled in a team-leading 15 catches for 180 yards, but outside of those 2, production has been minimal. Marvin Jones caught only 1 pass for 9 yards against the Saints in Week 4, and has just 12 catches for 138 yards on the season. He has not had more than 4 catches in any game this season, despite seeing an uptick in targets during Galladay's absence. Stafford and his receivers are going to have to step it up if this team is going to turn the season around. As advertised all season long on Detroit Sports Extreme, the Lions are an absolute dumpster fire on the defensive side of the ball, and will still be without corner Desmond Trufant and nickel corner Justin Coleman this Sunday. Replacing Trufant in the starting lineup will be rookie corner Jeff Okudah, who is the last-ranked cornerback in the NFL according to Pro Football Focus, only defending 1 of 20 passes that have been thrown his way. For God's sakes, Okudah, can you please start doing something out there? The Lions' defense as a whole is the worst-rated defense in the NFL, also according to Pro Football Focus, giving up the 5th most total yards per game, including the most rushing yards per game, and the 4th most points per game. Some defensive coach we have, and Matt Poop Trisha. On the injury front, as we just alluded to, the Lions won't have Trufant or Coleman, but center Frank Ragnow was fortunately upgraded to a limited participant in Friday's practice, and that bodes well for his availability in Sunday's game. The starting center has been leaps and bounds the best offensive lineman for the Lions this season, and his presence is vital for the success of our beloved Honolulu Blue and Silver.
Behind enemy lines, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Following last Sunday's 30-14 ass-kicking to the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars became the first team in NFL history to lose 3 straight games to a winless opponent. On paper, they rank as the youngest team in the NFL with an average age just under 25 years old. Contributing to that is 24-year-old second-year quarterback Gardner Minshew. Drafted in the 6th round of the 2019 NFL Draft, Minshew took over the starting reins early last season after an injury to Nick Foles and has looked like an above-average NFL quarterback ever since. A likable guy with a good sense of humor and a killer mustache, Minshew ranks 9th in the NFL in passing yards with 1,439 and is tied for 7th in touchdowns with 10. At 99.4, he also ranks in the top half of the NFL in quarterback rating. Despite his individual success, Jacksonville is only averaging 21.8 points per game, which ranks 26th in the NFL, and Minshew will throw the occasional interception and sometimes hangs on to the football a little too long. The Jags found another diamond in the rough in undrafted rookie running back James Robinson, who after a strong training camp took over the starting job following the release of Leonard Fournette. Robinson ranks in the top 12 in the NFL in rushes with 73, yards with 333, and touchdowns with 3. He should have no problem running all over the Lions' worst-ranked rushing defense in the NFL. Top receiver DJ Chark is expected to miss this Sunday's contest, so rookie Laviska Shenault, who leads the team in both catches with 23 and receiving yards with 270, as well as fourth-year man Keelan Cole, will need to step up the slack for the Jags. On the defensive side of the ball, Jacksonville is an absolute mess, an NFL worst 56% of drives against the Jags end in a score, and they are yielding a 75.8% completion percentage against opposing signal callers, also an NFL worst. They also allow the 3rd most total yards per game in the NFL, 4th most passing yards, 7th most rushing yards, and 9th most points per game. Additionally, the Jags are allowing a league-high 8.8 yards per attempt through the air and are tied with none other than your Detroit Lions and 2 other teams for the fewest amount of sacks in the NFL. Collectively, this is currently a unit that grades as 3rd worst in the entire NFL in defense according to Pro Football Focus. This is certainly a defense that gives the Lions a run for its money. But in all seriousness, I expect the Lions to score a lot of points on Sunday, particularly through the air, as this game has the 4th highest over-under of the week at 54.5. In theory, Matthew Stafford should have a field day against a Jacksonville defense that has given up either multiple touchdowns or 300 passing yards in every game this season. But then again, you think he would have had more than 204 passing yards against the Saints in Week 4. Missing in action last week were linebacker Myles Jack, defensive end Josh Allen, and rookie corner C.J. Henderson. Unfortunately for the Lions, all are expected back this week. Jack is 2nd on the team in tackles and has 1 sack and 1 interception on the season. Allen has 2 of the team's 5 sacks, and Henderson, who was taken 6 picks after Jeff Okudah at number 9 overall in the 2020 NFL Draft, is one of Jacksonville's top corners. While Okudah has been an absolute bust so far to begin this season, with a Pro Football Focus grade of 29.3, worst in the NFL, Henderson has posted a respectable 63.1 grade in 3 of 4 games played. In his fifth season in Jacksonville with an overall record of 23-32, head coach Doug Marrone, like Matt Patricia, could be fired any week. The losing coach of this game could very well join former Falcons coach Dan Quinn at the bar with a bottle of spicy ouchie Wawa hot sauce. So who will win this Sunday showdown? Stay tuned later in the show for my prediction. We are going to take a quick 60-second commercial break here on Detroit Sports Extreme. Do not go anywhere.
I can't breathe. I have migraines, numbness, weight loss, impotence. I shit my pants. I live with it every day. The illness that I'm suffering from is a Detroit sports fan anxiety disorder, and it deserves to be treated like any other illness, but it's not.
Are you suffering from Detroit sports fan anxiety disorder, also known as DSFAD? If so, you're not alone, and we're here to help. Hi, I'm Dr. Dick Johnson, and I've been treating Detroit sports fan anxiety disorders for over half a century. Your disorder could stem from the Detroit Lions, who haven't won a championship since 1957, or perhaps the Detroit Pistons, who haven't won a playoff game since 2008. Maybe it comes from Jim Harbaugh and his 2-11 record against top 10 ranked opponents, or Al Avila's 40% winning percentage since taking over as Tigers GM in 2016. Whatever the case may be, the professionals at the Detroit Sports Anxiety Clinic are here to take your call right now at 1-800-DETROIT-TEAMS-BLOW. Please, don't wait another minute. Give us a call today, because the way things are looking right now, the future is bleak for Detroit sports. That number again is 1-800-DETROIT-TEAMS-BLOW. The Detroit Sports Anxiety Clinic, easing the pain of Detroit sports fans since 1958.
Welcome back to Detroit Sports Extreme. Here again is your new voice for Detroit Sports, Johnny Bakerstone. Extreme Expressions.
As with every show, we take the calls of 3 listeners, and this week we begin with a new caller. It's Big D from the East Side.
Yeah, this is Big D calling in from the East Side. Thanks for having me, Johnny. These Lions, they're going to fucking lose this game. You know, they're going to find a way to mess it up like always. On to the Red Wings. Looking forward to the start of the NHL season coming up in December. We got that prospect pick, Raymond. He's going to do some good stuff, I feel like. So that's what I'm excited for, is the Red Wings this year. Lions kiss my ass.
Yikes! A Lions fan that has clearly given up. Enjoy your Sunday. But Big D does have some optimism for the Red Wings, and sadly, they are the pro team with the most hope right now going forward. Next up is a returning caller. It's Boats from the West Side.
Hey, Johnny. Boats from the West Side again. We had a week off. That's all we needed. Now we got an easy schedule. We're coming back. We're going to be 3-3 before you know it, and then everybody's going to be looking up and saying, that ain't no Patricia. That's Matt Patricia, the genius. Yeah, bitch. And Stafford's coming back big time. Woo! Hey, also, keep up that Tigers talk and that Red Wings talk. I love it. Also, who you think the Pistons are going to draft, man? I need some Pistons talk here, too. I need some draft. I'll look at all these mocks. I don't know who the hell we're taking. Give me some clues. All right, man. See.
Matt Patricia, the genius? My God, Boats from the West Side might be overdosing on the strongest dosage of blue Kool-Aid known to man. As for the Pistons, we will dive into the NBA draft soon, my loyal listener. Our final caller is the Ass Man.
Hey, Johnny, the Ass Man. I've got a little bit of a bone to pick with Boats from the West Side. How many Busch Lights is that clown been drinking? He always talks great about the Lions and how they're going to be just fine. He must be like 45 Busch lattes deep. Lions suck. Also, got a bold-ass prediction. Wings, this upcoming season are going to go pretty darn far into the playoffs. Like what Yzerman's doing. Great direction for this team. It's going to be a fun NHL season. Thanks, Johnny. Talk to you soon.
Our second caller praising the Red Wings. I love it. We'll dive more into what the Wings did this past week later in the show. As for Boats from the West Side, we love him, but this is a man that's been on a Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid bender since 1958. We wish him all the best. Special thanks to Big D from the East Side, Boats from the West Side, and the Ass Man for calling in. If you'd like to be heard on Detroit Sports Extreme, simply send us a message on our Facebook page at Detroit Sports Extreme.
Detroit Sports Extreme presents Michigan Moments.
This Michigan moment brings us back to October 14th, 1984. Led by Kirk Gibson's 2 home runs, the Detroit Tigers defeat the San Diego Padres 8-4 in Game 5 of the 1984 World Series. The most famous play of the game occurred in the 8th inning when Padres manager Dick Williams instructed pitcher Goose Gossage to walk Gibson to set up a possible double play and a force at every base. Goose did not like the idea, however, as he enjoyed success against Gibby throughout his entire career. This move would prove costly. In perhaps the most iconic home run in Tigers history, Gibson launched a Motor City missile into the right field upper deck Tiger Stadium stands, sealing San Diego's fate. What ensued was a classic Gibson celebration that featured fist pumps, smiles, and high fives. Take that, San Diego! The win marked the Tigers' 4th World Series title and is the last championship they've won. But not to worry, as Al Avila is actively working on it.
Detroit Sports Extreme poll question.
This week's poll question read, who will win a Big Ten championship first, Mel Tucker or Jim Harbaugh, and why? It was an even split, with half of you saying Tucker and the other half going with Captain Comeback. The question isn't nearly as outlandish as you may think, because if Michigan sputters to yet another underwhelming season, Harbaugh could be a gunner. Harbaugh still hasn't won a Big Ten title in his 5 seasons at Michigan, and has not won more than 10 games in any season. He has a 2-11 record against top 10 ranked teams and a 1-4 bowl record. He is 0-5 against Ohio State, getting outscored 118-66 in the last 2 games. My God, the numbers speak for themselves, and Michigan fans can only hope that Joe Milton is the real deal as we enter the 2020 season next week. As for Tucker, Michigan State did about as good as they could have asked for in hiring the ex-Colorado coach. And although it may take him some time to get his feet wet in East Lansing, I'm excited to see what he can bring to the table. It'll be especially interesting to see what happens when Michigan and Michigan State square off on Halloween. We will preview the games of both Michigan and MSU on next week's show, as they both play their first game next Saturday. Switching to hockey, in just the last couple of weeks, Red Wings GM Steve Yzerman drafted Swedish forward Lucas Raymond, as well as 11 other draft prospects, and let go of longtime veterans Jimmy Howard, Jonathan Erickson, and Trevor Daley. He also bought out the contract of Justin Abdelkader. To replace the losses, Stevie Y signed 2 forwards and 2 defensemen, all to team-friendly contracts of $2 million or less per season. The signings have got favorable reaction from both the media and fans, and the newcomers should hopefully make an impact from day one. Yzerman also found a new goalie in Thomas Greiss, who signed a 2-year, $7.2 million contract on October 11th. Last season, with the Eastern Conference finalist New York Islanders, Grice posted a 16-9 record with a 2.74 goals against average and 91% save percentage, all respectable numbers. Grice will share goaltender duties next season with Jonathan Bernier as the two form a formidable 1-2 punch. All in all, it was a successful week for Yzerman and the Red Wings, and it brings hope and optimism to a team that few others in this city can offer. We'll keep a close eye on the Wings as they get closer to the dropping of first puck, which should be early next calendar year.
Bird of the week.
Steve Yzerman. Yzerman made a slew of moves over the last couple of weeks, cutting some dead fat and also adding some much-needed new blood. No, I'm not going to act like every move he makes turns to gold, but his draft pick of Lucas Raymond with the 4th overall selection of the 2020 NHL Draft adds a forward to a team that badly needs playmakers. Although Raymond probably won't be up with the team until next season, he will be a welcomed addition once he's on the ice, as scouts say he can do it all. Yzerman also moved on from several veterans that were not cutting the mustard anymore, and added 2 forwards, 2 defensemen, and a goalie, all to team-friendly deals. Combine that with his 11 other draft picks, and the Wings hopefully have started the foundation of a winning team for years to come. It's hope, folks, and Yzerman's success in Tampa will give him the benefit of the doubt until I see otherwise.
Turd of the week.
Darrell Bevel. We're seeing Chargers rookie quarterback Justin Herbert toss touchdown after touchdown, and second-year quarterback Kyler Murray enjoy success in the NFL. Yet our 12-year quarterback, making roughly $27 million a year, still can't figure out his footwork. Thanks, Coach, but I really don't want to hear it, even if it is the case. Instead of Stafford starring in the next Happy Feet movie, how about he figures it out and helps us win some damn ball games, starting this Sunday in Jacksonville. And guys, please save me on the whole "our defense sucks" bit. I'm aware, but the Seattle Seahawks have one of the worst defenses in the league and are somehow 5-0 because Russell Wilson continues to run zigzags around the NFL. Wilson was a 3rd-round pick, mind you, and let's not forget Stafford is a former number 1 overall draft pick. It's excuse after excuse after excuse for Stafford, and I'm over it. It's time to put up or shut up, Happy Feet.
Stat of the week.
3. Dating back to 1995, the Lions have a 3-3 record against the Jacksonville Jaguars and have won the last 2 contests, 2016 in Detroit and 2012 in Jacksonville. This Sunday, they should go over the 500 mark against the Jags and hopefully start a string of wins together.
Extreme Sportsbook, sponsored by the Johnny Bakerstone Law Firm. Going through your 3rd divorce like Johnny? Well, make some money off these games to help cover the bill.
Last week, I went 4-1 in NFL Pick'em against the spread, improving my record to 6-3 on the young season. Let's get to double digits in the win column this Sunday in Week 6.
Detroit Lions -3 at Jacksonville Jaguars.
Boy, does this feel dirty, but fresh and well-rested coming off a bye week, I'm taking the Lions giving 3 in a battle of 2 of the worst defenses in NFL history. Since the start of the 2012 season, the Lions are 7-1 against the spread coming off a bye, and although both teams will score points in this one, I think Matthew Happy Feet Stafford will carve up the Jaguars secondary like a pumpkin. At least he better. Jacksonville is 0-7 in their last 7 games against NFC opponents, and will go to 0-8 as Doug Marrone gets fired and Matt Patricia lives to see at least one more week.
Cleveland Browns +3.5 at Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pinch me, I think I'm dreaming. The Cleveland Browns have won 4 consecutive games for the first time since 2009. Working against the Browns, however, is the fact that they haven't won 5 straight games since 1994 and haven't won in Pittsburgh since 2003. The Pittsburgh offense, which is top 10 in the NFL, has been rolling all season, and I don't see the Browns defense stopping them on the road in Week 6. Combine that with a Baker Mayfield interception or two, and I see the Steelers, who are 3-1 against the spread this season, covering the 3.5 in the Steel City.
Baltimore Ravens minus 7.5 at Philadelphia Eagles.
Every time I look at this matchup, I envision the Ravens winning by at least 10 points. Baltimore still has not hit their stride this season despite a 4-1 record, but I think that changes this Sunday against a bad Eagles defense. Get this, in every one of Baltimore's last 7 wins, and in 12 of their last 14, they've won by at least 2 touchdowns. That is frightening. The Ravens, who are 12-3-1 against the spread in their last 16 games, should have no issues with the Eagles, who are a measly 1-4 against the spread this season. In the Battle of the Birds, the Raven reigns supreme in the city of brotherly love, baby.
Atlanta Falcons +4 at Minnesota Vikings.
The 0-5 Atlanta Falcons are reeling after just firing their head coach Dan Quinn earlier this week. Matt Ryan has thrown just 1 touchdown pass in his last 3 games combined, and the Falcons are giving up the 2nd most yards of total offense in the NFL and the 2nd most points per game. Minnesota has the best record in the NFL at home over the past 5 seasons against the spread, going an impressive 23-10-1. I see an angry Vikings team who just choked away a victory on Sunday Night Football in Seattle in Week 5, putting the pedal to the Dirty Bird metal and winning this one by at least a touchdown in the Twin Cities.
Chicago Bears +1.5 at Carolina Panthers.
Fool's gold. That's what I think about the Chicago Bears. Although the Bears are 4-1, all 4 of their victories have been by 4 points or less, and they very easily could have lost in 3 of them. Not to say I totally believe in Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers either, because I don't, but I don't see Nick Foles going on the road and lighting up the scoreboard in this one. Foles is better suited as a backup fill-in, not a full-time starter, and has always faltered when given the keys to a full-time starting quarterback gig. Foles gets outplayed by Teddy Bridgewater in this one, and Carolina, who is 3-0 straight up and against the spread in its last 3 games, wins by at least a field goal.
Fantasy Football Extreme!
Last week, I told you to start quarterback Gardner Minshew, running back Chase Edmonds, and tight end Evan Ingram, and all paid dividends at discounted prices in daily. Although Minshew didn't light the world on fire, he still managed to pass for 301 yards and 2 touchdowns, and finished as a top 12 fantasy quarterback. Edmonds totaled 92 yards on only 8 touches, rushing for a touchdown, and Ingram had a touchdown as well. Starting with the Lions game, if you're looking to pony up the moolah to rack up the fantasy points, the easy money has to go to Jaguars running back James Robinson. Robinson has had 17 touches or more in all 5 games this season, racking up at least 90 total yards in 4 of them, and faces a Lions defense Sunday, giving up the most rushing yards per game in the NFL. The Lions cough up the 3rd most fantasy points per game to opposing running backs. Amazingly, Robinson is still only the 8th most expensive running back in daily. If Robinson is too rich for your blood, take a long look at wide receiver Keelan Cole. DJ Shark is expected to miss this Sunday's contest, allowing Cole to step into a starting role for Jacksonville. His 3 touchdowns on the season are tied for most on the team, and as you already know, the Lions' secondary is abysmal. I won't be surprised at all if Cole hauls in his 4th touchdown of the season against the Lions. Turning to Detroit, although I've been highly critical of him, I expect Matthew Stafford to put up big numbers against the Jaguars. We've discussed at length at how bad the Jags defense is, and Stafford is only the 9th most expensive quarterback in daily. He should turn in his best fantasy performance of the season this Sunday in the Sunshine State. And if he doesn't, God help us all. Now, I will pick one skill position player from the remaining games, and please remember that I like to pick under-the-radar guys that can be had at a discount if you're playing daily, or guys that could possibly be available in your seasonal leagues.
Quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick, Miami Dolphins.
Looking for a cheap option in daily that could turn in top 5 QB numbers? Look no further than Fitzmagic. The bearded wonder has scored 25 or more fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games, and this Sunday gets an Adam Gase defense that couldn't cover its way out of a paper bag. The Jets have given up at least 30 points in each of their last 4 games and have allowed an opposing quarterback to throw multiple touchdowns in every game except for 1. The Finns are 9.5-point home favorites in South Beach, and Fitzpatrick is just the 12th most expensive QB in daily.
Running back Ronald Jones, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Even with Leonard Fournette expected back, I see Jones having a monster day against the Packers, who give up the most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Jones has had at least 15 touches in each of the past 3 weeks, including at least 20 in each of the past 2, and has looked great, rushing for 100 or more yards in 2 straight weeks. In a game with an implied point total of 55.5, second highest of the week, I suggest deploying Jones, who is only the 15th most expensive running back in daily.
Wide receiver Christian Kirk, Arizona Cardinals.
Kirk's involvement in the Cardinals' passing game has been ramping up in recent weeks, seeing 12 combined targets in the last 2 games, and he gets a Cowboys defense Monday that gives up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. I expect the Cowboys to pay extra close attention to DeAndre Hopkins, and Kirk's ability as a downfield threat should allow him to get loose for a long touchdown in this one. In a game with the 3rd highest over-under of the week at 55, I expect Kirk to stay busy and post his best game of the season as DeAndre Hopkins Robin.
Tight end Evan Ingram, New York Giants.
I have to go right back to Ingram this week, going against a Washington defense that yields the 4th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Seeing a whopping 30 combined targets in his first 4 games, Ingram somehow managed only 2 targets last week at Dallas, but salvaged his day with a rushing touchdown. He did have another touchdown called back due to penalty, however, and I feel, just like last week, that he's due for a big performance. Ingram is just the 9th most expensive tight end in daily. Get him in your lineup, fantasy fans. That will conclude this edition of Detroit Sports Extreme. If you enjoyed the show, you can follow us a number of different ways. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher under the name Detroit Sports Extreme. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter under the name Detroit Sports Extreme. To follow me on Twitter, my handle is J_Bakerstone. We'll see you next week, Detroit sports fans.